You won't be able to stare at this image.
Let's read some Glitch in the Matrix stories, part 64. This one is so good. It's long, I gotta talk fast. This was a while back, but still bothers me to this day. It was 2016, and me, 22, and my husband, 28, were moving into a rental home. I was 6 months pregnant, and we were thrilled to move into a nice community since before we had lived in a sketchy part of town. We didn't know much about this rental, except it was in a good school district, low crime area, and within our budget. Time passes without any problems, and soon our son was born. His birth was textbook, and he slept well in the hospital. This all changed when we brought him home. The first night home was awful. Every time we set him in his crib, he screamed. I'm not talking a normal I'm hungry or I need a diaper cry. I legitimate scream like he was in pain. My husband and I had to take shifts at night so that one could be with him while the other could sleep. My shift was always the second and started around 2 to 3 in the morning. I tried my best to sleep, but shortly after my son's birth, I began having horrible nightmares. I would dream nightly about my son being hurt or needing me, and I couldn't get to him. At my 6-week checkup, I told my OBGYN, and she believed I was having postpartum anxiety and prescribed me medicine and recommended I see a counselor. Weeks passed by since starting the medicine and counseling, and I was still having nightmares, and my son was still screaming all night long. His pediatrician told us it was colic and that we just needed to wait it out. Everything changed when he turned 3 months old. His screaming continued but started to be all day instead of just at night. My nightmares became so much more specific. One night I dreamed that I walked into my son's room and he was on fire and screaming. Though I was in his room, my feet were stuck inside of his doorway. I couldn't move or speak. I could only watch my son screaming in pain. I woke up screaming and hyperventilating. My husband ran into the room and tried to console me. The next few days I could not sleep. I spent most of my days at work and my evenings sitting on my front porch talking to my next door neighbor. She was the sweetest old lady and had lived in the neighborhood since it was originally built in the 70s. I guess she could tell something was wrong and asked if I was okay. Reluctantly, I told her how my baby had been acting and how I was having horrible nightmares. She was sympathetic and asked me to elaborate. I didn't feel comfortable telling her the details, so I just told her that I had dreams about fires in the house. Her face quickly changed from caring and concerned to horrified. Seconds of quiet felt like hours before she spoke again. Do you know what happened in this house? She said. I told her no. She sighed and looked down before grabbing my hands and looking at me. She goes on to tell me that a few years ago there was a fire at the house due to some faulty wiring done poorly by the landlord. There was a young family with a 3-month-old baby living there, and unfortunately the baby passed away in the fire. She said the couple moved away and the house was renovated and put up for rent after. I was in shock. I ran inside to my husband holding our baby and told him we needed to leave. He must have seen the fear in my eyes since he did not ask me to explain myself until we had gotten the car. I explained what happened in the house and how I felt like my dreams were warnings and we needed to leave before something happened to our baby. Luckily, my brother-in-law lived in the next town over, so we went there. The first night we stayed in his house, our son slept through the night. Not a single peep. I checked on him every hour since it was so unusual for him to sleep this well. From then on, apart from the normal baby stuff, my son never screamed again like he did in that house. My husband packed up our stuff and we stayed with my brother-in-law until we were able to get out of our lease and rent a new place. I never went back. I will never go back. I just pray for whoever moved in there next. This was so crazy. It was such a good one.
Cosas que los humanos debemos ver antes de morir, parte 52. Pasal ada, aku kena curi ke apa lagi dapat. Kenapa? Allah. Aduh. Allahu Akbar. Aish, Cin pula buat hal. Tak habis nak menyusahkan aku.
This leper hospital started the Great Plague and is definitely cursed. We have to stop meeting like this. You guys are gonna start thinking that I have a problem. I am back to deliver you another horrific burial ground, and this one is such a doozy. And just arriving here gives me bad vibes. It is soggy and dreary and full of birds, and I hate birds. And here we are, St. Giles. This was once a horrible little medieval village outside of London that's been swallowed up by the West End now, and it's virtually unrecognizable apart from this damp little churchyard. And you wouldn't want to take a day trip out here because St. Giles was the patron saint of the, that's right, lepers. This is a 12th century leper hospital. It also became the site of public execution. When Sir John Oldcastle was executed, he cursed the land as he was slowly burned to death. This churchyard holds centuries of haphazardly and shallowly buried dead. It was recorded that the revolting ill treatment of the dead was a daily custom, making it no surprise that the Great Plague of 1665 started right here. Patient zero of the plague that decimated the population fell ill right here in St. Giles. And in the Georgian era, an explosion caused 18,000 metric tons of boiling hot beer to flow through St. Giles and kill 8 people. And then to top it off, right here, Dennis Nielsen worked. He would bring the cooking pot that he used to boil his victims and serve food out of it at the office Christmas party.
Jesus is my nightmare.
Nah. Bro, that's gotta be the most fucking dodgiest shit ever. Hell nah, pull that shit in reverse, Derek. Nah, man. Like, honestly, if I switch off my lights now, which I'm gonna just do it. Nah, alright. That's not a good idea. Fucking next second we just hear like screams and shit. Fuck no. Get the fuck out of there, bro.
People keep sending me this viral clip of this weird, slow-moving energy orb. It's saying, Jason, this looks like something out of one of your weird horror sci-fi novels. This is actually a known phenomenon. Actually, certain human beings with certain training can summon energies like this. It's called a Hadouken.
If this clock hits midnight, that means that the world as we know it has ended, and right now it is 90 seconds away from midnight. The Doomsday Clock was founded in 1947. It's a clock that was designed to show how close we are to destroying the world with dangerous technologies. Now, this clock doesn't work like a normal clock, and 90 seconds to midnight doesn't actually mean 90 seconds before the world ends. It just takes into account everything going on in the world right now, and it gives us a threat level based on that. The furthest the clock has ever been away from midnight was in 1991 after the Cold War. Back then, the clock was 17 minutes away from midnight. And today it was revealed to be the closest it's ever been to midnight at just 90 seconds away. Now, to compare it to other years, in 2020 it was 100 seconds away. And since things have just been getting worse and worse since then, the clock keeps moving closer and closer to midnight.
About 10 minutes or so later, Chris is recording himself walking into what appears to be the school's bathroom, and it's then which he gets a genuinely terrifying fright.
Oh shit! Oh fuck! Somebody's in there. Oh shit! Scared the fuck out of me. Oh man. Oh man. Hello. What the fuck? Oh, it's a toy. Oh my god, that scared the shit out of me.
The second time he walks into the bathroom, he finds out that it's just a toy, as he refers to it. but the fact that the figure suddenly drops to the floor the moment he looks at it is honestly really strange. He is then shown walking down this long corridor when he begins to hear something strange coming from above.
He's walking this way. Listen. Alright, I'm gonna go this way.
It's not even a full minute later that Chris gets yet another scare coming his way.
It's still here. I wonder what's in it. Oh shit.
Who the fuck are you? What the fuck is wrong with you? Who the fuck are you?
Don't blink. Don't even blink. Blink and you're dead. They are fast. Don't turn your back. Don't look away and don't blink.
Oregon 911.
I would like to order a pizza at...
You called 911 to order a pizza?
Yeah, apartment...
This is the wrong number to call for a pizza.
No, you're not.
I'm getting you now. Is the other guy still there?
Yep. I need a large pizza.
Alright. How about medical? You need medical?
No. With pepperoni.
A seer finally came today to exorcise the poltergeist. Hope it will work. This is crazy.
Oh my god, go away! Leave us alone! What the hell?
Sweetie, is it time for school?
Yes, I think so.
Sweetie, you need to ask. What time is it, Mr. Wolf?
What time is it, Mr. Wolf?
It is 8 a.m. It's time for school.
Lunchtime.
Brianna, you need to ask Mr. Wolf what time it is.
What time is it, Mr. Wolf?
It is 12 p.m. It's time for everybody to eat lunch. Except Timmy. It's time for Timmy to be my lunch. No, Mr. Wolf, please!
What time is it, Mr. Wolf?
It is 3 p.m. It's time for me to eat you.
Brianna, you need to ask Mr. Wolf what time it is. Hurry!
We're kind of in the topic of aliens and stuff like that. Do you remember an Area 51 call that someone called to a radio show?
I think I know what you're going to talk about. I think I've seen this.
I remember when I first watched it, I was scared for a while.
I was let go on a medical discharge about a week ago.
So give us something quick.
What we're thinking of as aliens are they're extra dimensional beings that an earlier precursor of the space program made contact with. They are not what they claim to be. The disasters that are coming, the government knows about them. There's a lot of safe areas in this world that they could begin moving the population to now aren't.
But they're not doing anything.
They are not. They want the major population centers wiped out so that the the few that are left will be more easily controllable. I started getting...
People are saying it's a hoax.
I feel like that's, I mean, why would he be crying? You know, why?
Like, yeah, it sounds too...
And if he's an actor, then he's a great ass actor, but
Yeah.
it sounds too real, bro.
What got to me was the whole, him talking about disasters.
It's kind of what's going on right now.
Or that's been going on for a while, yeah. Either 2008, 2010, those were the years where a lot of UFO sightings were happening, bro. There was one that happened in Jerusalem. I don't know if you remember back then.
Another video from a different angle appears to show the light doing the same thing.
It literally hovered down.
Turn your physical house into a horror game. Collect all the relics before it's too late. Any size or shape house can become haunted. Hauntify Mixed Reality. Download on SideQuest.
These chains were used to torture children after the Civil War. This is the Haunted Orphanage in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. In the years following the Civil War, this building was used as a residence for the children whose fathers passed away in the Civil War. An evil head matron named Rosa Carmichael would torture kids for something as simple as stealing bread. But the reason the kids would even have to steal the bread in the first place is because she was also starving them. This exhibit is a remake of what the pit would look like with a kid chained up inside. They would be like this for hours, days, or weeks. It is confirmed that Rosa's torture methods killed at least one child, but there is rumored to be many more deaths. This building is also extremely haunted, and in the gift shop when they were painting the walls, they found these fingerprints. Could they have been made by the spirit of a child who Rosa tortured?
Obviously a ton of conspiracies about Michael Jackson. But in my opinion, one of the most interesting ones, if not a little ridiculous, is that this is what he actually looked like. Hear me out. On January 27, 1984, Michael Jackson was shooting a Pepsi commercial at LA's Shrine Auditorium. Everything was going great until the sixth take when the pyrotechnics malfunctioned, causing his head to be engulfed by a fireball on camera in front of 3,000 fans. Now, he likely couldn't feel it at first, but as he made his way down the stairs onto the stage, it didn't take long for the stagehands to realize he was on fire. Aaron Faye, his hair and makeup artist at the time, said, quote, "This was someone I knew and he was on fire. By the time I got to him, all of his hair was gone and there was smoke coming out of his head." According to the hospital, Michael suffered second and third degree burns across his head and face. In 1992, the music video director that was filming his tour, Rudy Dolezal, was told that Jackson refused to appear on camera on days that he wasn't performing because on those days he didn't have a nose. Rudy went on to tell the New York Post that Jackson needed a prosthetic nose that took hours to put on using makeup and putty. In 2002, rumors were running rampant in the tabloids that what was left of Jackson's nose cartilage had completely collapsed. So what's the conspiracy, man? I couldn't figure out what it was used for, but there is footage of Michael Jackson being made up to look like an old man using makeup and prosthetics, and it's very convincing. Then there's also this Akon interview where Akon describes going to the movies with Michael Jackson and being shocked when he got there and a complete stranger walked up to him and started talking in Michael's voice because it was Michael, but he was absolutely unrecognizable. The theory being that nobody really knew what Michael Jackson looked like anymore because the Michael Jackson that was famous was just a mask. Now this is a real man named Dave. A victim of horrible burns when he was young, and Michael Jackson just kind of took an interest in him and took care of him. So at first when I was reading about this, I was like, okay, case closed, that's a different guy. But the theory points out that Dave suddenly became a lot more public and his appearance kind of changed after Michael Jackson's death, insinuating that Jackson didn't pass away in 2009 but instead resumed living under various assumed identities, easily fooling the world because nobody had really known what he looked like since the 80s. Hit the link in my bio to watch hours of conspiracy theory content on my YouTube, and have a great weekend.
Light out. Everybody.
Question that has long plagued police is, what do we make of the McGrady tapes? Back in like 2001, at a Blockbuster in McGrady, North Carolina, a car drove by in the parking lot and just dropped a tape outside of the building. So employees saw that and they went outside to get the tape, and they were like, who would drop a tape off like that? Until they looked at it and they noticed something was wrong. This was the tape that was recovered from the parking lot, and it was completely unlabeled. According to the story, they took it to the back room where they were able to play it back, and this was the footage they found. It is a 40-minute video of a person's face looking under what looks like a bathroom stall, and it's completely silent, like straight uncut 40 minutes of this and the cameraman just breathing heavily while they videotape this. Management turned the tape over to police, and the strangest part is that a search canine signaled that the tape had traces of human decomp on it. To this day, whoever's behind the McGrady tape is a mystery.
Brianna, you got a number. You only get 3 guesses and 3 hints. After that, you're out.
Is it a number from 1 to 10?
It is.
Is it 3? What's the number?
You can't ask what the number is.
Is it a number below 5?
Yes.
2?
Safe.
Oh no, bestie, there's a number on your head.
Is the number higher or lower than 10?
Higher.
11?
Come on, think!
Is it an odd or even number?
Even number.
19?
19's an odd number.
That's it, I'm just gonna guess. 12. Brianna, you got a number!
Oh shit!
We got these real things right here. There you go. One of these. These things are heavy. Just a little backstory. It was a construction worker that he needed help pushing one of these. He says a guy came up to him, another worker, and he says, I got you. Just guide me and I'll push it for you. So I said, okay, cool. So he was guiding him. He kept telling him, back it up, back it up, back it up. And he was pushing it. When they were done, he went around the reel to tell him thank you. And he says that he was gone.
Eerily enough, the person who was helping the worker with the reel suddenly disappears. According to the worker, he had walked around to thank the man for helping him, but to his shock, he was no longer there. It's as though he seemingly vanished into thin air. Given the story provided by the security guard, could it be that this worker had encountered the spirit of a deceased ex-employee? Or might there be some logical explanation for this truly odd occurrence? As with most videos, this one has yet to be solved.
What time is it, Mr. Wolf? It is 3 p.m. It's time for me to eat you. Brianna, you need to ask Mr. Wolf what time it is. Hurry!
What time is it, Mr. Wolf?
It is 3 p.m. It's time for everyone to go home. It's time to go home. I'll see you tomorrow, bestie. Stay safe. You too. Mom, I'm home. I'm so hungry. Mom, is it time for dinner?
What time is it, Mr. Wolf? It is 5 p.m. It's time for me to have my dinner. Mom!
Sissy, where's Mommy? It's time for dinner.
She's just sleeping.
Why is there a timer above my head?
Sissy, hurry. You need to ask. What time is it, Mr. Wolf?
Ask what?
What was that? Don't.
Come with me.
How long have your parents been gone, little one? It's certainly been a while. Don't you want someone to take care of you? Let me in. Let me in.
Listen to this guy's story about his experience at Area 51.
He said it's a secret that needed to be told to the world, that his life was in danger, and that he was coming forward and wanted to tell it.
Hello, Art. Yes. Hi. I don't have a whole lot of time.
Well, look, let's begin by finding out whether you're using this line properly or not.
Area 51.
Were you an employee or are you now?
A former employee.
Former employee.
I was let go on a medical discharge about a week ago, and I've kind of been running across the country. Oh man, I don't know where to start. They're gonna they'll triangulate on this position really soon.
Well, you can't spend a lot of time on the phone, so give us something quick.
Okay, okay, what we're thinking of as aliens are they're extra-dimensional beings that an earlier precursor of the space program made contact with. They are not what they claim to be. They have infiltrated a lot of aspects of the military establishment, particularly the Area 51. The disasters that are coming, the military, I'm sorry, the government knows about them, and there's a lot of safe areas in this world that they could begin moving the population to now, Art.
But they're not doing anything.
They're not. They want the major population centers wiped out so that the few that are left will be more easily controllable.
Discharge.
Thinks better of holding this thing too close to his face. Are those stingers? Could this bug be poisonous? And even stranger, if he looks closer, he thinks he might even see metal wires protruding from its exoskeleton. The exterminator yawns again, rubbing his eyes. He suddenly feels so sleepy. What's wrong with him? Did he not get enough sleep last night? I should have had a second cup of coffee this morning, he tells himself. Why can't I keep focused? His words trail off as, all at once, sleep overtakes him. He collapses to the floor with a thud, dropping his tweezers. The cricket bounces free as the tweezers fall from his hands. The cricket drops to the floor and quickly rights itself. Instead of running, though, the tiny insect turns around. It skitters toward the prone form of the exterminator, making a straight line for his head, as if it were moving with intelligent purpose. This doesn't look like the frantic, stimulus response movements of an insect. The insect crawls over the slumbering man's face, hoisting itself over his chin, then lips, and then right up to his left nostril. With one sudden movement, the cricket slithers up his nose and disappears. The exterminator snorts and mumbles in his sleep, but the sensations of an insect wriggling up his nose does nothing to rouse him from his sleep. After a few minutes, the exterminator blinks his eyes open. He sits up with a groan and rubs his head. What the hell just happened? Did he pass out? How embarrassing. He looks around, finding his tweezers and his flashlight on the ground next to him. But no matter where he looks, he can't see the insect anymore. Where did it go? He returns to the crack in the wall for a second look, but sees nothing. Absently, the exterminator rubs his nose. He feels a vague discomfort in his sinuses, and he wonders if maybe his allergies are acting up, but otherwise he remembers nothing about his bizarre experience. He probes his fingers into the crack and wiggles them around, hoping to find some evidence of the missing insect. There's nothing there. Well, at least he knows what he's dealing with, and it's definitely no cockroach. Eventually, he shrugs his shoulders helplessly and returns upstairs. "Did you find the cockroaches?" asks the old woman when he returns to the top of the stairs. "I know there are roaches down there." He shakes his head. "Ma'am, I searched the whole basement and I didn't find any cockroaches." He explains to her that all he could find in the basement was a harmless cricket. The old woman starts to argue with him, insisting that what she saw in her basement was no cricket, but the exterminator has already made up his mind. This is annoying. He thought that she would be happy to hear that she doesn't have roaches, but now she just wants to make a fuss. He's not going to waste any more time on this nonsense, not when he has real work to do. He shakes his head as he repacks his equipment and prepares to leave. The exterminator returns to his truck and turns the ignition. As he pulls away, his mind is already mulling his next job. He doesn't give another thought to this crabby old woman and her paranoia about cockroaches. He doesn't stop to wonder what became of that strange cricket that he found. It probably just crawled back into the wall, he thinks. He certainly would have no reason to think that the cricket is still with him, a new and permanent hitchhiker inside his head. The exterminator had just acquired a new lifelong friend, a lifelong friend that we call SCP-2119. SCP-2119 is a biomechanical creature that resembles a small gray insect, ranging from 5 to 15 millimeters in length, with a segmented body, 6-jointed legs, and protrusions from the head and abdomen that resemble antennae and oviposters respectively. However, SCP-2119 does not appear to reproduce by any means known to man, so these oviposters are likely simply a form of mimicry, something added to give SCP-2119 the appearance of a common insect to make it less conspicuous to humans. Genetic testing has determined that the organic parts of SCP-2119 are largely identical to those of Gryllus rubens, otherwise known as the southwestern field cricket. One notable difference between SCP-2119 and the field cricket, though, is that SCP-2119, also known as the transmitting parasite, has 6 barbed hooks on the underside of its body. Strangely, SCP-2119 also contains mechanical parts, including silicon parts that do not match any known make and platinum wiring, leading Foundation researchers to assume that SCP-2119 is an artificial life form. At this moment, who made SCP-2119 and why remains a mystery. In many ways, SCP-2119 not only looks like a normal insect, but also acts like one. It apparently possesses extremely rudimentary self-awareness and intelligence comparable to that of its insect brethren, being able to sense potential hosts or detect danger. It displays many normal self-preservation instincts common to insect life. If discovered by a conscious human, it will flee or hide, but it does possess one self-defense measure that no normal insect does. Any human who comes into the proximity of SCP-2119 will start to feel drowsy, eventually succumbing to unconsciousness within 3 to 8 minutes. Once a human subject is unconscious, SCP-2119 will enter their head, either through the nostrils or the ear canal, and eventually make its way to the subject's brain, where it will use its barbed hooks to attach itself to the corpus